How do you become so focused that it scares people? If you don't know me, my name is Jaden Lee Lua. This is my daily updates channel where I go into some sort of value, planning and strategizing, and then tracking my growth across all of these channels. This is what we're currently at right now. Today, we're actually going to be talking about the how to actually achieve elite levels of focus. And I feel like this will be very beneficial to you because if you want to achieve anything great in life and you can't sit down at the desk for 8 hours straight without checking your phone, then you will never achieve anything great in your life. Okay. So this is why focus is so important. And I see a lot of people talking online about focus. And what they end up saying actually is they think they basically say you have to use, willpower or just pure discipline to be able to achieve elite level of focus. And while part of that is true, I actually disagree. And I'll explain why here in a second. But you see David Goggins, who's gonna carry the boats or anything like that, and that's not how you achieve elite levels of focus. You actually achieve elite levels of focus in these four simple phases. It's gonna be preload, activate, immerse, and then exit. Okay, and we're gonna start with preload, obviously, because it's phase one. But preload essentially this is the 30 minutes to an hour or 20 minutes to an hour before you actually start your working session and when you take a break and then you go back, right? This is why I'm a big advocate for taking boring breaks because if you are scrolling on your phone or you're really stimulating yourself. Even when I'm listening to music, even when I'm scrolling on my phone, even when I'm watching a video, it's super stimulating to your brain, right? So once you actually do that before you start working, then your brain it has a hard time really immersing yourself inside the work. So instead, just cut out all of that the first 30 minutes before you start working, and even when you take a break, when you're like, all right, I'm gonna go take a break, that's the last thing that you want to do is scroll or do some high dopamine activity, because once you go back to doing the work, then basically you're going to be cooked and your dopamine's going to be fried, and then it's going to be really hard to get back into work. Okay, and that's essentially phase one. You basically have 10 minutes, zero stimuli. I mean, some people even stare at a wall. I've actually tried this. It honestly works. I would just say, that's a little extreme, honestly. But I mean, I heard it works. So if you want to try it, you can try it. Now, your environment, this is probably, I made a video about environment, why you need to change your environment. But you basically just want to make it simple and low dopamine as possible. As low, like you want to make sure you're not getting any like stimulated by anything, right? You want to have a clean space, and so your brain's not going to be scrambled. You can focus on the tasks that you're supposed to do. Now this one's going to be energy matching. You're going to want to protect your peak hours, obviously. So the peak hours that your brain is working is in the morning. So I actually work out in the morning. I hit a lift and I get a big, boost off of that. And then what I'll do is I'll work for like 4 or 5 hours, and then I'll go back to the gym. I'll hit a cardio session, and then I get that another boost. So that's an example of like energy matching. You want to be able to focus when you need it the most. Okay. Now phase two is actually going to be activate. So you want a sensory trigger. You want a unique cue only before you do deep work, and then your peripheral blackout. So this is actually a very underrated thing. Now a lot of people think focus is a game of addition. Like, let me add all of these things, therefore, so I can stay focused. But it's actually a game of subtraction, right? What do I mean by that? The reason why it's a game of subtraction is because removing everything that's not the work will allow you to actually focus instead of adding a bunch of things that's going to basically stimulate you to be able to do work. Okay, so it's a game of addition, not subtraction. Now, this is what I was talking about. So the peripheral blackout. Now I actually have these blackout curtains here, and I actually got earplugs. I got this from Alex Hermosi, by the way. And since I've implemented this, I have really bad ADHD. So when I have, a curved monitor, I have blackout curtains. I make my room super dark. I don't have any lights on. So it's just me, the screen. I'm not having any lights in my peripheral. And then I have earplugs in as well. So it's just me, my thoughts, and my screen. So this is very underrated. And I know you're probably saying, I thought you just said it's a game of subtraction, not addition. Besides those things, just earplugs, caffeine, nicotine, and blackout curtains. Caffeine and nicotine obviously aren't needed, but I've found it very, you know, I found it to basically help me achieve elite levels of focus, and that's why I've kind of added it in. Now number phase three is gonna be, you want to immerse yourself. Okay, you basically want to make distractions impossible. You want to block all the apps. On my phone, I actually have a work mode, basically. And this allows nothing to get through. No messages, no anything. Let me pull up the screen so you guys can see. So basically a work mode, and this essentially allows you to block all messages, all notifications from apps. I actually seen a video, I forgot who it was talking about, but we shouldn't let our phones or apps give the power to them to be able to distract us. And that's exactly why I have that on my phone. Now there's also another setting if you have an iPhone called grayscale, and this is supposed to reduce your phone usage by 30%. Now what I do to make, distractions impossible, I don't only block my apps, but I just throw my phone in the drawer back there. I just throw my phone in the drawer back there, and that way it's because if it's on my desk, right, and I'm having a deep cloud code section or session, something along the lines of that, then I'm gonna want to grab it. So I'm kind of just like raising the friction for me, just basically taking away everything, and the only thing left is basically doing the work. And then sound as well. I don't do this. Like I said, I just use earplugs, just me and my thoughts. And then I actually have a timer. Well, so I have a timer, and basically you set it to, how long that you think this is gonna take you. I think it's dead right now. I need new batteries, but you set it for how long it's gonna take you. It's like $10 on Amazon. Again, I got all this stuff from Alex Hermosi, and you kind of just see how long you're working for, so you know how long you're working for. Say you got to go to the bathroom, you pause it, you come back, you unpause it, so you know how long you're actually working for. Now, phase four is gonna be the exit. You want to do 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off to stay at your baseline, right? Because if you're sitting there for, 3 hours straight, what's going to happen is you're going to start like this, and then you're going to go like this, right? When you do these little intervals though of 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off, what's going to happen is you're going to go like this, and then you're going to go like this, and then it's going to be some sort of like this, right? Instead of just, going like this and then just decreasing. Okay. Now, this is very underrated. But get rest. Sleep 7 to 8 hours every single day, and wake up, no phone. Don't again. It just comes down to detoxing your dopamine, and just visualize your work before you start to work. This is the first 30 minutes before you actually start work. You basically want to visualize it, okay, of what you're gonna do. No phones, no anything. This is why staring at the wall method works so well, is because like you don't have anything stimulating you, and you're just like, I can't wait to be done, and you're thinking about what you're actually going to do next. And then the last one is going to be small healthy reward. So these are things like walks and push-ups. So I mentioned I use a cardio, like I have a treadmill in my apartment building. I'll go down there around like 3 4 p.m, and then it gives me that extra boost. And then again, I'm only if I am listening to something that's podcast, I don't listen to music. And then most of the time it's just me and my thoughts, okay? Because again, it just comes down to visualizing the work, like my second work block that I'm gonna do. And you can't visualize something when you're constantly being stimulated by something. And then another thing would be like push-ups. You can do these as well. Something about working out, I think it releases some sort of chemical in your brain, and it basically helps you focus. That's gonna be my little rant today. This was about focus, how you can actually achieve elite levels of focus. Now, if you're new to the channel, like I said, we go into some sort of value, and then we go to planning and strategizing. I run a cold email lead generation agency. We are currently sending 15,000 cold emails every single day at the moment. We just scaled up the volume, so I'm just pushing more volume. And essentially, how this works is, instead of sending, 5,000 emails, maybe some Instagram DMs, maybe some LinkedIn DMs, maybe running ads as well. Instead of doing all of that, I'm just maximizing one channel to one avatar until I can't anymore. Okay. So I'm gonna maximize this channel, and I mean I know people who are sending, 30, 40,000, 50,000 cold emails a day. So I know I have a lot to go. And then I'm just going to maximize that to one avatar. And then once I max this out, then I'm going to move into other channels such as, running ads, for example. That's probably going to be the next one. And then, hiring an SDR to do cold calls, things like that. And that's essentially how I'm going to, how like the plan is to basically scale my agency at the moment. And that's kind of like the whole goal when it comes to planning and strategizing. Now, tracking my growth. First, we're going to start with YouTube. So as you see on this channel, let me refresh it to make sure the data is accurate. We are currently at 129 subscribers. And I think we're up one from yesterday, I believe, and the goal is 300. But like I said, let me actually pull up my draw pen here. You guys could see. So like I said, nope. So like I said, the goal is obviously 300 subscribers, right? The goal is 300 subscribers. But if I just keep on doing these daily actions every single day, like as you see here, I'm only getting 15 views, 21 views, 7 views on my latest one, 27. So for me to hit 300 subscribers by the end of this month, the odds aren't really in my favor, but I know this is my theory of what's actually going to happen is I believe, I'm going to be posting, it's going to be like this, and then out of nowhere, it's just going to go like this, right? Now, I can't put a timeline on it because I just know if I do these daily actions every single day and I post these videos every single day, then I know eventually that, it's going to happen, right? So that's this channel. And then moving on to my business channel where we are a lot closer to hitting 300 subscribers. We're currently at 203 right now. So let's view the channel. So we're at 203 subscribers at the moment. And the goal is 300. So we need roughly 97 subscribers in the next 22 days. So if we do some quick math here, so we'll do 397 divided by 22. So we need roughly 4 subscribers a day, and I've been kind of growing at that rate. I make these videos in the middle of the day, so you guys don't really get to see. I think we were at 201 yesterday, so we're up 2 subscribers so far. So we need 2 more to basically stay on track. And then moving on to my Instagram. Oh, I'm logged out again. I should be more prepared, but I'll pull it up on the screen here so you guys can see what I'm at. And this is essentially just me documenting my journey. I definitely feel like I will be able to hit 5,000 follower mark. But I'm currently at 3,100. I don't know if you guys could see 3,139 followers at the moment. And obviously the goal is to, I closed out my Miro, but the goal is obviously 5,000. So if we do some quick math again, 5,000 minus 1,339, we need, oh wait, no, 3,139. We roughly need 1,861. Do 1,861 divided by 22 days left. We need to roughly gain 84 followers every single day. And that's kind of like the trajectory I've been on anyways. So we're on 88 followers every single day. And the goal there is really just to maximize volume. But yeah, if you enjoy these videos at all, click subscribe. I post these videos every single day. Obviously, once I gaining more traction, leave comments in the description. I'll be able to, start the video off answering those questions, giving value that way. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.